Yes.
You have to love yourself. Self-love is actually all that it's cracked up to be. We need it to thrive in a relationship.
So there's two camps of thought that's sort of percolating in the zeitgeist. One is you don't have to love yourself to love anyone else. You don't have to love yourself to be loved by someone else. And all of that is true. You learn to love yourself while you're in relationship. Then there's another camp that says you have to love yourself in order to love someone else or in order to be in a relationship. Both are wrong and both are true in their own way. You don't have to completely love yourself in order. There's lots of people who don't love themselves who love plenty of people. And there are lots of people who don't love themselves who are loved by others. But you better believe that if you really struggle to see your value, that you allow and you tolerate crappy things in a relationship, you're in trouble because our relationships reflect how we feel about ourselves. So I think of self-love as self-acceptance. I see it as, look, straddling that very delicate line between understanding that you have work to do and there are things that you can improve on and quite possibly absolutely need to improve on. And yet that doesn't diminish your value as a human being in any way. That doesn't diminish your worth. And self-acceptance is learning to sort of hold ourselves in high enough regard without, even though there are things about ourselves that we may not like. Self-esteem is critical for a relationship. If it's too high, you have the narcissist. But in my world, what I see a lot more of is too low. And if it's too low, then you are pretending to be someone who you're not, running away from intimacy, tolerating abusive or borderline abusive behavior. So it is a very important conversation to be had.
How much is it the job of the other person to help you build you up and build your self-esteem up? Is this not supposed to be a dyad? Should it not be a case that we can go to them flawed and broken as we are and they will help us to put the pieces back together? It seems like there's a degree of reliance on the other person, but also you have to sort yourself out first. How do we balance that?
Yeah, it's not an easy answer. I believe that the best relationships involve people who have a strong sense of self, but that doesn't mean that they don't have parts of them that are wounded. But we can't get into a relationship and expect another flawed person to put all the pieces back together. But I do believe that we can get into a relationship with the expectation that we are going to hold each other's hands and help each other out as we face our own demons and we face our own challenges. And so, look, there's a difference between someone needing to be built up by their partner all the time because they don't do anything, because they're not doing that thing that they need to be doing to help themselves, versus someone who's going through a really rough, or just having a rocky month, and needing their partner to kind of be like their greatest fan in that moment. So context matters, and I know that that's not popular because so many people want the black and or white answer, and they want the how to, but there's nuance here. But know that no one can actually fill all your voids.
It feels like this is related to your fifth point. You need to speak up and tell the truth. If we hide what we see, feel, or need, a relationship will spiral quickly.
Yes. I've lied a lot in my relationships. And what I mean by lied is I don't think of myself as a liar. I don't lie. I don't say something that isn't true. But I haven't divulged the whole truth of what I was feeling in the past. Because number one, I didn't even know that it was okay to have those needs. I didn't know how to express those needs. Like I was so disconnected from that. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to like not tell the truth on purpose. But every time people are strategizing to get someone to be interested in them, the mask, the ambassador of ourselves, it, people don't tell the truth because they're having a hard time processing something, or they're just so afraid if I say what I feel, she's going to be so hurt and she's going to leave me. Or he's going to become so defensive and not be able to have a conversation with me. So I'm going to bottle it up and I'm just going to be easy. Or I'm just going to repress how I feel because, who am I to have feelings? Who am I to have needs? So people aren't doing this consciously, and they're not necessarily doing it on purpose. They're doing it because they don't know the alternative.
How can people become more comfortable with speaking the truth?
Well, one, by recognizing that the alternative is worse. By not speaking the truth, you become resentful. By not speaking the truth, your relationship deteriorates. By not speaking the truth, you betray yourself. And by not speaking the truth, in many ways, you betray your partner, because then they don't know how to contribute to your happiness. They don't know how to contribute to the emotional bank account of your relationship. So there's a very big price to pay in not speaking the truth. And the way to do it is to be direct and truthful. And also, sometimes you'll have to be very vulnerable. I'm not into the whole stoic thing. It's not about being stoic. No one, in a romantic relationship, stoic doesn't get you very far. Vulnerability gets you far.
Why is that the case? Why does this sort of stiffer, stronger self-sufficiency thing not get you far in a relationship?
Well, not when it comes to difficult conversations. I mean, it has a place, when you have to make a decision about something. Sometimes bringing that to a relationship can be very useful, but when it comes to difficult conversations about feelings and about needs, you have to be able to. People bond when they open up their hearts to each other and they open up their inner worlds to each other. If you're always hiding behind the mask of stoicism, then it's just a wall. It's just another self-protective measure. And it's like, it's emotional unavailability. It has its place in life. It has its place in pockets in a relationship. But that's not how people build trust with each other. They build trust when you are able to open up about something that's important to you, and then it's received. It's received with care. It's received with interest. It's received with love. That's how you build trust with another person.
Does it mean sometimes we're going to have to sort of move at the same speed as our partner, that we can't say more to them than they're able to receive? And if we try to do that and it is kind of unrequited, or it's not very well absorbed, that's going to make us more scared about doing it next time. So
yes.
we need to tolerate that and regulate how quickly and how much we do.
So let me backtrack a little bit. We're training our partners all the time. All the time. Every time your partner opens up to you about something or just wants to share about their day, and you're just like, reading something and barely looking up, you're training your partner to not do that anymore. You're training your partner to now start to withhold their experience. So I think that if you're sharing something and someone is not able to receive it, again, that feeds into the conversation. You could say something like, it seems like, or it appears that this is difficult for you to hear right now. Is that true? And part of being a mature, high-functioning adult in a relationship is being able to have that kind of conversation. And you might say, you know what? Yeah, like I think that was really hard for me to receive. Maybe I just need a moment, or maybe I didn't need to ask you some questions. When you're getting to know someone, like in the beginning, you're sort of testing the waters and maybe opening up a little bit to see how they receive you opening up, and then maybe you see that they don't receive it that well, and then you might be it's not a guarantee, but you might be in the presence of someone who's not actually that interested in you as you would hope them to be, or B, they're not what is so commonly and popularly referred to as emotionally unavailable. Now, that doesn't mean that everyone is going to be as emotive. There's lots of men of a certain generation who are just not as emotive as women are. I think that men has to learn how to become more emotive, but what's more important is that they become very good listeners. And I think we all have to figure out what we can and cannot tolerate in a relationship. But it's called a heart to heart for a reason. When two people have a heart to heart, they're opening up their inner worlds to each other. And typically what is associated with a heart to heart is after that heart to heart, there's closeness. There's more love. So it's important.